everyone, my name is Isabel Rodriguez, and this is my science notebook for my EDU 307 class. In my science notebook, you can find an essay that I wrote, the explorations that we did throughout the semester, and some notes that I took. So our first section is our essay. We had to write an essay about our most memorable science experience. So I wrote about the time where in 4th grade I won our class science fair. I was in 2nd place, and that was very life-changing for me. I actually started to enjoy science, so I wrote about that, and I also wrote about what science just means to me in general and what I hope to get out of this class so I can be able to teach in my future classroom. Our next section is explorations. For explorations, we focused a lot on the KLEW charts. For an example, we would fill out a chart like this. What our KLEW chart will consist of, we'll have a section for each letter. So in the first section for our K, we would have our know, what do you know? In our L, we'll have learning, so what are you learning? We have E, what evidence do you have to back up your learning? And then lastly, we have our W, what wonderings or questions do you have now? And that's the KLEW chart. This is one of the first ones that we did. We did a living and non-living KLEW chart. We have our evidence right here. Here's another one that we did. This is a very interesting one, and I had fun doing this one. We had to figure out how to make a little light bulb light up using a piece of wire and a battery. Our teacher did not give us no instructions whatsoever. She just gave us the material and said, go for it. So it was really fun to figure that out. And we wrote down our information and what we were learning on our chart as well. Another one that we did, it had to deal with energy transferring. So we had to rub this balloon on our heads, and with that friction on the balloon, we had to move this can. That was pretty fun to do as well. Here's another living and non-living that we did. This time I was dealing with a fake plant and a real plant. Another one that we did had to deal with rocks and the hardness of a rock. Another one we did was dealing with sound. We also got to do another one dealing with light and how it beams off onto something else. We also got to do one where we had to build a little mini car and had to figure out how to push it and how to pull it. Another one we did was classifying. So they gave us a bag of candy and we had to classify it depending on our choice. So I classified mine by shapes. You can see they're all like rectangles here. We got like our triangles, ovals, circles, and then just random shapes. We also had an activity dealing with erosion. We actually got to create different scenarios. My group got to create how erosion happens when the water meets with the sand, and obviously the water pushes the sand or it pulls it back. So that was pretty fun. And that day I decided to use a very lime green color, so you can't really see the wording, but it's there. So this is another exploration that we did that didn't really have to deal with the chart like the others. Our professor gave us a bag with random items in it, and we just had to create something out of it. And so me and my friend decided to create a snowflake looking things with the items that we found. Another exploration that we did, we got to grow lima beans from a bag. We also got to make slime in class, which was very fun. Our professor did not tell us the procedure, nor told us how much of the ingredients we will need. She just kind of gave us the material and said, go for it. So in the end, our group used 1 cup of starch and 2 cups of glitter glue. And that's what we came up with. So something else that we did, we made airplanes out of paper and tried to see why some airplanes flew farther than the others and what we could do to make it go farther. So we also did an egg drop. Me and my partner, we created this egg and we put him in that cup. We used a lot of material and it did not break. And here's a short clip to show you how it went. Next, we have the notes that we took for this class. So to begin, we talked about inquiry-based instruction, and we just kind of learned about what it consisted of. Again, we learned about the KLEW charts. Again, we learned that the K stands for what do you know, the L stands for what are you learning, the E stands for what evidence do you have to back up your learning, and our last one is our W, what wonderings or questions do you still have now. And we also talked about the different approaches that we can do with inquiry-based instruction. And we had structured, guided, and open. We also talked about what physical science consisted of. So we have our definition, which is a branch of natural science that studies non-living systems. And some of the main focuses on physical science are sound, energy, force and motion, and electricity. And it could be represented by a P. We also talked about what earth science consisted of, and the definition for that is the study of our planet's physical characteristics, such as fossils, floods, and earthquakes. And some of the topic underneath this is weather, rocks, sun and the moon, and then day and night. The last one is life science, which can be comprised of the branches of science that involve the scientific study of living organisms, such as plants, animals, and human beings, and this can be represented by an L. And then lastly, we talked briefly about what STEM consisted of and the process of engineering, which is research, design and development, testing, evaluation, and redesign. And for this, we actually created our own marble run where we used recyclable items to make our marble get to its place. And that's what's in my science notebook.